reason the charts change.
Little trade another day.
And tomorrow, I'm the biggest bear out there. So be it.
You win some, you lose some. But you live to trade another day. Live to make another play. You win some, you lose some. But you live to trade another day. Live to make another play. Live to trade another day. Live to trade another day. Live to make another play. Win some, you lose some. But you live to trade another day. Live to make another play. Scared money don't make no money. 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 You win some, you lose some. But you live to trade another day. Live to make another play. Is it the bottom yet? I'm trying to buy up everything. Not gonna get upset. Just pull the trigger, let it bang. When I see a trade, I'm hopping in like a Uber to secure my future. Up early just like a rooster. Eyes glued to the computer, looking for a bag or two. Market cipher on the screen, compliments of trading view. Now I know what I'ma do. Buy low and sell high. Even if you try and fail, at least you didn't fail to try. I don't wanna be the type of guy that let fear win. I'm the one that dive in head first and bust my chin. I know FOMO is a no-no, but I still get it in. Now I can't predict the future, but I know I'm bound to win. Later or sooner, I'll be the big kahuna. Cause I got big kahunas. I was not scared to get money, I took me some chances and now I'm the big kahuna. And if you scared, might as well get neuter. I'ma keep chasing my dreams. Wake up and mansion so big, I need a segue to get from wing to wing. Scared money don't make no money. 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 You win some, you lose some. But you live to trade another day. Live to make another play. Scared money don't make no money. 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 You win some, you lose some. But you live to trade another day. Live to make another play. Don't be scared, G. Like paid in full, get your bread.
All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Dano Crypto. On this channel and on these live streams, we show you how to make simple, effective, and easy moves in the cryptocurrency ecosystems. So today we're going to be covering a lot of different news topics. We're going to be covering the markets. We're going to be covering dollar cost averaging. We are going to be comparing Bitcoin to Litecoin. There was some Litecoin and beef happening on CT, on crypto Twitter. So we're going to address it. We're going to see where even that conversation can even be had, comparing Bitcoin to Litecoin in terms of altcoin season. We're going to talk about altcoin season. We are going to get into some of the different treasuries that are being set up with Solana, with Ethereum. We're going to get Vitalik Buterin's thoughts on the Ethereum ecosystem and why he thinks being too over leveraged is dangerous, and why you should just make sure you're keeping the Ethereum ecosystem safe by not being over leveraged. So nice heed warnings from Vitalik Buterin. And we're just going to get into the overall sentiment of the markets right now. We're going to get into our thesis for why we are holding and certain things and being interested in certain cryptocurrencies and ecosystems. And we hope you guys are doing well. And so make sure you're hitting the like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell to be notified. Easy way to do that. You just go to the page. You go to the
26,000 off at retail.
Woo! Hold on just a second. We got a couple videos that we want to play for you today. So just make sure you guys are sticking with this live stream to the very end. And the topic today is really your edge is hodling. We have been in the market since 2021. And the thing that we've learned, I think the biggest lesson you know, and I don't want to call it like major mistakes or anything like that, because like, you know, when you call it a mistake and, you know, it's got a lot of negative connotation to saying, oh, I made a mistake, I effed up, you know. And if you just take it as like a, you know, a learning experience, then you view it in a different way to be able to transmute that mistake, problem, whatever it was, and to turn it into a solution in a way that you can get better. So I've tried to do that my best with my own crypto journey, and it has led me to one simple fact. And it's kind of a tried and true fact with investing and compounding, you know, compounding interest, compounding anything. If you're, you know, trying to with consistency accomplish a goal, whether it be paying off debt, you know, that takes consistency, conviction. You have to have a strategy and be like, okay, you know, I have this much money, so, you know, I got this much debt. If I pay this much, this many times over the next whatever, I know I'll be able to pay this off. And it's kind of the same with investing. You're like, look, you know, I know I can put $50 into Bitcoin, for instance. You know, if you chose Bitcoin or Litecoin or Ethereum, whatever it is, and you're just like, I'm gonna DCA $25, $50, and this is what I'm going to do. But it's consistency, and it's that compounding. So today's live stream, we're really going to focus on just having you focus on your edge, just being here long term, and you can figure out how you want to navigate through that strategy of taking advantage of certain opportunities in the markets when we're in altcoin season, or if we're in Bitcoin season. You know, you start to understand that actually holding Bitcoin through different points of the market is sometimes not a bad idea. It's good times to be, you know, focusing on altcoins when they're at their destruction bottoms, you know, because then you're really practicing that thing of buying low and selling high, which is a lot, and which is also one of the main goals here in investing too. You know, you're DCAing, you're getting a good dollar cost average, and over time when you're doing that, you're gonna consistently always buy low or buy mid. Maybe you might just cool off a little bit when you start to see that it's like everything's getting euphoric and people are getting greedy. There's no fear in the market. It's a lot of times when we get a little too over leveraged and the exchanges like to smack us right down. But that's why I think the DCA strategy, it seems to work. It seems to work. But make sure you guys are hitting the like button. Go in and, like I said, if you want to ding the bell, it looks like I got past. I've been trying to get past this wall on YouTube, this subscriber wall. I'm at 3,780 subscribers. So shout out to all the new subscribers. Thank you so much. I noticed I ticked up a little bit over the past couple of days. So I really appreciate you guys for hitting that subscribe button. It really helps the algorithm. And thank you for joining the Dojo crew. Because once you subscribe and you come into these live streams, you are part of the Dojo crew. And this is where we are training on a daily basis in these live streams together, analyzing the markets and helping us strengthen our thesis on crypto, and making sure that if we ever come into a situation where we're in a room and you're being laughed at because you mentioned you like Bitcoin, which just happened to me recently and has happened to me many times, you, my friends, will be having the last laughs. I guarantee it. To the point where you might be belly laughing to the ground and almost pass out from the laughs that you and I will be having be heard across the world. But yeah, thank you to the new subscribers. I really appreciate it. All right, so bell, click that freaking bell. You got to click the bell. Click the bell, hit all, because then you will get notified. All right. So let's get into some of the news here. So main topics of discussion. Let's get into really quick. Let me get my sidebar off here. Okay, so there has been some talk again about WorldCoin. So there's all this WorldCoin frenzy. There's some, let's see, this Dan Ives joins firm focused on acquiring Altman's backed WorldCoin. So if you guys remember, this WorldCoin basically have these devices that scan your eyes like Minority Report style, and this is how it verifies your identity for your WorldCoin. And so if you guys remember, about 2 years ago, maybe this is about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago, they had a couple of these stations where you could volunteer to go and get your eyes scanned. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is just like so creepy, eerily going towards the direction of a world that looks like Minority Report. And if you've ever watched that movie and you saw this, you probably kind of had like a really like creepy chill in your spine. So Dan Ives, the high-profile tech analyst at Wedbush Securities, is joining 8Co, which is planning to accumulate WorldCoin, the cryptocurrency co-founded by OpenAI, Sam Altman. And so it's to implement the first of its kind WorldCoin treasury strategy. So this has basically ignited some of the price action for WorldCoin. So if you see here on crypto.com price, if you ever want to check out prices and different ecosystems and stuff like that, in terms of a price aggregator, you can go to crypto.com/price, and this will categorize things pretty well. So you can see here, WorldCoin, and link in the description, by the way, if you haven't tried crypto.com yet, we have a link in the description, and you will earn Crow and Bitcoin for signing up, and you can get all kinds of different bonuses and stuff like that for being a part of the crypto.com ecosystem. And recently, Trump media has been announcing multiple buys of the Crow token and adding it to its treasury, and they're going to be using the chain for Trump for Truth Social. So big investment between the Trump family, Trump media, and also crypto.com and the Crow ecosystem. But yeah, WorldCoin up 20%. So you can see this thing really started to cook here over the past, probably honestly over the past week. It's really since for the past 7 days it's actually been doing really well. But I think the controversy with this is that it's going to be, it's centralized. You know, if you're going to basically give your identity and all this stuff up to this WorldCoin chain, you're fully KYCing or whatever, and there's a potential. Just look, the World Liberty financial investors, just like Justin Sun. I mean, it doesn't matter how much money you have; they will freeze it and lock your coins up because it's centralized. And so that means that at any point you could just not get access to your stuff. And that could very well happen if you decided to just go all in on WorldCoin. So you just have to be careful with that. And that's why I think diversifying in crypto in general and just having exposure into multiple different types of ecosystems would definitely be the play to make sure you don't have major risk exposure into one particular chain or one particular or one particular stable coin. That's why I think it's really it's great that there's all these different stable coins, because I mean, if it was just one, think about the dollar. You know, we don't want to hold the dollar. So thank God that there's other stuff that we can use now. we can have a stable coin, which is where all the liquidity is going anyway. But you don't know which one is going to go belly up. You don't know which one is going to end up possibly depegging in the future. We have no idea. massive vampire attacks on the chains or something like that, and you have all your wealth in the one particular chain that got vampire attacked, and then you can't access your cash because you went all in on something. This is where the whole diversification and the dollar cost averaging into you know, your stuff, making sure it's spread into different things, and it's very important. That's what will actually keep you safe, and you'll be able to compound the crypto over time, and then you won't be like, you know, getting rugged at the end, you know, during points of your journey. So we noticed yesterday, because of AGI Delicium was pumping, was starting to do well, went up 10%, 15% or so. I think maybe 20% on the day. AI token mania starting to get underway. So 14% surge in AI linked cryptos. Our traders are betting on crypto and also AI synergy. The momentum is speculative, possibly. That's what we were talking about. We think that people are rotating back into AI to front run the next surge, because we are getting signals for altcoin season. I think, you know, if we probably to look at the dominance again, Bitcoin dominance is still down, but it could potentially trend back up, but it's in this area, which gives me a little bit more confidence. But also dominance for ETH is trending down. We got sell-offs in the ETFs, you know, that was kind of a correlation of why we're even kind of having, you know, the price action that we're having. Everything's kind of cooling off a little bit, but Bitcoin, I think what they did is they started buying up again a little bit, so that's pushing up the price, giving us this little bump. You can see we pushed 112, but we're still just, it's not enough. You know, we're not getting enough volume. We kind of have a bear, like on the weekly here, we actually have a bearish cross on the MACD. So, you know, we could just. And I think what's happening right now is the Fed with the interest rates and all this stuff. It's like it might, and the economy it's terrible. You know, more jobs are actually more people are out of jobs than what they're probably really reporting or what they're saying. No new jobs are really being created. It's more so companies are you know, scaling back a little bit, especially in certain sectors. So it could be, we could get a possible, you know, little bit of bearishness in this channel. Could get, you know, I hope we don't go like super low. You know, I mean, we could potentially just kind of touch and test this line right here, this channel line. If you're looking on the weekly for Bitcoin, it's a nice channel line. That wick for the week looks like crap, you know. I mean, it's you know, if we look at the daily, it might look a little different. The daily kind of, you know, we had two greens coming up off the consolidation of the 3-day, you know, nasty rejection up here, 113. It was just like bleh, but it looks like it's just kind of bing bonging around a little bit. It's just kind of bing bonging. 112,000 has been now a major resistance point. You can see, you know, the bearish divergence. So you can see bearish divergence, opposite direction, you know, high, higher high, high, lower high on the RSI, bringing us down into that low channel. We got to really watch for that next time. So this could be probably a key thing that you could watch for price action in any coin, as if you see something like this, some kind of pattern like this, and we'll full screen it so we can get a bigger view. Will I be able to? No, I want to like go full screen. Well, that's not like full screen. It's weird. Usually when I hit that, it goes like full screen. Well, I guess that's good. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good. All right. So you can see here, on, let me collapse this. And let's make this a little bit. Yeah, I mean, this was just like a clear, if we were watching this more, it kind of zoomed out and we got up to that point in this candle right here, because this is a daily candle. Oh, this is cool. Oh, this is new. I like this. This is cool. Inflation rate. Interest rates. Oh, this is great. Oh, I love this. This is awesome. This is cool. Guys, I don't know if you've seen this, but this is new. It has macro maps. Macro maps where it shows you the inflation rate, which is BS, 2.7%. That's bull crap. The inflation rate, if we've been using stakes, a lot of people have been using stakes as the representation. People, you know, there's a lot of viral TikTok content of people going to purchase, you know, sliced up steaks that normally would have cost maybe like 10, 50, you know, I don't know, maybe like, you know, between 10 to 50, it just depends on the cut, you know, 10, 15 a pound. Now it's like 25 a pound. And it's just like, it gets outrageous. Like, so you get a pack of meat and it's like $70 and it used to be 25, 30. So meat, everything has doubled, tripled, almost tripled in price. Some stuff has tripled in price over the past 4 years. So this is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. The interest rates still being at 4.5%, whilst product inflation and of goods and services, specifically goods, while that interest rate has been at 4.5% is, I mean, that is, if you think about it, that is really crazy. Because at a point during COVID, they were at 0%. And then they printed 40% to 50% of how the money supply that's in circulation now, all during those 4 years, while the interest rates were at 0. They gave us a little bit of stimulus, just a little bit. They gave us a little bit, and then they sent billions and billions and trillions of dollars out to other countries, while the interest rates are at 0. And then while we're over here at the end of the 4 years, there's just millions of people that got bonked hard. Some didn't survive. Some have not been able to come back. Some are like in the well, like freak, you know, it's bad. So this is why I think long-term crypto hodling and investing and just learning about this stuff right now is so important, because you got all this stuff that's kind of basically stacked against you. And there's a potential that, it's not a potential, it's just a fact. Massive waves of jobs are going to be lost by AI, which they already are. So then you have to be ready for that. You have to make sure that you're protected. You got to be like, okay, well, how could AI disrupt my job? And if you even have like a 15, 20%, you know, chance that it could, you better start learning how to use AI really fast, and also learn how to get more capital so you can invest. So whatever you're doing, do like double or triple more of it and get assets. We've been saying this for a long time. We know this is where the play is. I have proof, I have receipts. I have my channel that I've had for 3 years or longer now, and I've live streamed now for 90 weeks straight. I have over 750 live streams that I've done. That is a lot. I am almost at 1,000 live streams that I've done. So I've been coming here looking at this stuff every single freaking day. And the reason why is because I feel like this is the most important thing that I could be learning right now and getting better at, and knowing and being in the front lines of this stuff, so then I don't feel like, you know, I'm gonna get just completely trampled or left behind. And I think so this is why I've been here for so long, still talking about this stuff. But yeah, we're so well overdue for all this stuff. But the point that I'm trying to make is, this is why I think being super long term right now is really important, because you got to think, it's like, it just makes so much sense to know that all the stuff that's happening right now this year is the setup for the next 3 years, the next 3, 4, 5 years. Stablecoin, crazy cycle, mass speculation into, you know, large mid caps off of the price action of Bitcoin with Ethereum. You know, Ethereum is still going to be and has been chosen as the de facto chain that is decentralized for smart contracts and big money to support it. That is proof. Proof is the ETF. No one's gonna trust putting billions and billions of dollars through the modalities of the ETF if they didn't trust the chain by the fundamentals of it. So for me, that gives me confidence to be like, well, then I'm gonna. So then that gives me, for my, you know, because I'm like the suit buying memes, you know. I'm like my ticker Bitcoin and the Pepe and the Wojak and the stuff like that. But then also all the other, you know, ETH ecosystem stuff gives me more confidence in the stuff that I'm going to be holding, because if ETH is going to be doing outperforming Bitcoin, then you bet your butt, you know, the other stuff is probably going to outperform outperform the markets. At least the you know, just your blue chip stuff that can go up 300%. You know, if ETH can go up 150, 200% in the next year, 2 years, I think about what can happen with our legacy ETH memes. That's just my thesis, though. You know, that's my thesis. I think there's something to be said about Ethereum liquidity and how it works, and when we start to see ETH wake up. And it also proves a big point of Richard Hart, which is so fascinating. You know, people were making fun of Richard Hart for basically buying the ETH top. You know, remember, like, everyone on crypto Twitter was giving Richard Hart a hard time, saying like, "Oh wow, you're so smart. You bought ETH at you know, 3,500 or something like that, whatever the sacrifice price is." And everyone was giving him a hard time. But the thing that you have to understand about Richard Hart is that he really does know a lot about the blockchain. Like, he knows a lot about liquidity. He's a master at this stuff. I probably should honestly go back and watch a lot of his content, his old content that he used to post, because like, it's very like dialed in and specific, and it's just like, it's on all kinds of different topics. And it's definitely rewatchable. I'm sure it's like evergreen quality material. You can go back and watch. But yeah, it's just fascinating that, you know, we have people like Richard Hart like saying like, hey, I am signaling that I know we need ETH to do well. He's like, obviously Pulse chain's better. He's like, you should, use Pulse, but he's also like, I want ETH to do well also. While all of these, people like, and this is why I have a gripe with Charles. Charles he's like, I get it that you have Cardano and you want Cardano to do well. So that means you have to make sure that Ethereum, you could just like trash Ethereum, even though you were a co-founder of it. It's really interesting to not want that. And it's just, I feel like that's like with BNB. It's like BNB would probably love for Solana to die, but it's like, but with Richard Hart, he's like, we need Ethereum. While Charles is like, I want ETH to die. We're going to flip Ethereum. So I just don't like that attitude. And it just seems like I would love for Charles to be like, yeah, I mean, I want Vitalik to be successful. I want him to, make sure, blah, blah, blah. But really when I see Charles talking about Ethereum and Vitalik, he seems very sour and bitter. And, you can just tell by the way he comments about it. So my point is that it's cool that we see people like Richard Hart who have a lot of money. They have a lot of money. So you want people that have a lot of money to be pumping Ethereum. That's all I got to say. The Tom Lees out there, the Richard Harts, keep buying ETH, please, because all that's going to do is just give more positive sentiment into altcoins. It's just a fact. It's just a fact. But the nerd robot, it's that we're being fooled to think that it's a 4-year cycle still. It's probably not. The 4-year cycle, I think, is dead. I think it's dead. That is my best guess right now, is that the 4-year cycle is dead. I think for us to, and yes, there are times, obviously, there's seasons in crypto. There's seasons in investing. I mean, if you look at the S&P 500 or whatever, the Russell, the elections, there's always those seasons. It's like, okay, it runs up, whoever gets elected, 4 years, and it started with 2008. Yes, the Bitcoin halving cycles, of course, yes. But what is changing it this time and what actually might be making it different is the stable coins. That's what's different. We didn't have billions of dollars being minted on like the daily in the stable coins and all the different legislations and all this stuff. That's what I think when people say this cycle could be broken. And even the Van Eck guy was on a panel on I think it was one of the Bitcoin conferences, and is he Bitwise or Van Eck? I can't remember which CEO it was, but he was like, look, I think the 4-year cycle might be broken now. He's like, I think we're going to have a extended super cycle where we will have periods of volatility and consolidation, but ultimately price go up a lot. And so this is what I think. We don't need to get fooled into thinking that we're going to go into a 2-year, 2.5-year bear market. I think we might actually be going into a longer extended cycle because everything is going on chain, which when we were just barely speculating in 2021, just off of some euphoria and FOMO, we had people speculating out the wazoo. So what makes you think that's going to be smaller this time when they're about to print more money? The whole thing of the big beautiful bill is that they raised the debt ceiling to now they can do whatever they want. That's all you need to think about. They raised the debt ceiling so then they can justify continuing to extract using the Fed. The Fed's going to do their thing. They're continue their Ponzi, but ultimately it is all moving on chain. And we don't need to be fooled into thinking that we need to exit out of crypto. No, we need to continue to accumulate these assets like there's not going to be any more left. That's how we have to think about it. Because while you can print the fiat currency in the dollar to infinity, gold, you can't transfer your value of gold to someone instantly. You can't do that. And you can't trust someone really with your gold balance if you had millions of dollars stored in gold, because it's got to be in someone's freaking vault, and you are not going to have a giant safe of gold bars. I mean, just let's be real. That's not going to be a thing, okay? So when it comes down to asset allocation and control and custodial assets that you can control, this is where the matrix of money gets broken in your brain, and you don't think about exiting and outing and off-ramping and all this stuff. You're like, no, I'm going to keep on ramping into the next financial system revolution. That's what you have to think about. And we're all now getting gaslighted and tricked into thinking, oh, 4-year cycle. Alts are cooked, bro. And it's like, look at the chart. Just look at the chart zoomed out. And then that's also FUD. The whole AI-powered quantum computers will destroy all blockchains in 3 years, blah, blah, blah. FUD. It's absolute FUD. It's FUD. What I think is hilarious is that, like, I'm on more of the thought process that technology is way past the quantum computing. They just don't tell us that. We're given what we're given as the society, because if we were given all information, that's not how it works. You're not going to get a transcendent, psychedelic experience of the government just telling you everything that is available in this universe right now. It'd probably make you have a heart attack. So they're gonna slow drip us stuff and be like, oh, well, watch out, AI computing's gonna take over the blah blah blah. And it's just like, give me a freaking break, because it would have already happened. And so give me a freaking break on that. It's BS. It's freaking BS. Bull crap. It's not, it is that is like when people say stuff like that, nerd robot, that is how people get discouraged to not invest. And they're like, well, I guess I shouldn't buy Bitcoin because AI computing is going to take everything. And then what are you going to do? What are you going to do then? You're going to hold, you're just going to hold cash the entire time? That doesn't make any sense. That's like someone saying, oh, in the Y2K, in the early 2000s, you better not invest in the stock market. You better not invest in the S&P 500 or Amazon or that, because the Y2K, it's going to, everything's going to crash and burn. And it's going to be the biggest, everything's going down. Everything's going down. And if you would have been that person on that fear train, look what happened after 2000. Let's just go look real quick. Let's look for a second. We're going to go to the stocks. We're going to go to the S&P 500. And we're going to go to the year 2000. To the year 2000. Look. Everything. Oh, no, everything about the internet, everything's going to crash and burn. Oh, look, the 2000s right here. This is probably where the same people that doom rattle everything. They're like, yep, it's over. It's over. It even still rallied from there. And then, oh, right there, That was another one where they were like, yep, it's all over. It's all over, pack it up. And then what do? They just print more money and they scam us to the upside. They scam us to the upside. I want to keep getting scammed to the upside. That's my favorite comment. Please let me keep getting scammed to the upside. Because in order for crypto and Bitcoin and all this stuff to really be successful, they just need to continue to keep printing. Please keep printing the money. I don't care. Debase the crap out of it where a Big Mac costs $25. I don't care, because you know what? I'm going to have crypto to be able to help battle that. And I'm not going to be the fool holding fiat cash and complaining about the $25 Big Mac. You know it's like $12 now. So we're not that far off from a $25 Big Mac, baby. Oh my gosh. All right, YouTube is really being terrible, man. It's either I'm terrible or YouTube is terrible. I'm going to vote YouTube is terrible. Algorithm has been just a joke. All right, so rate the setup. This is cool. So shout out to Mung. DCA culture is a necessary implementation of building a long-lasting community that prefers using their extra time from trading and trenching to leveraging their skills to help proliferate the attention to the coin. This is what we do. It's the ultimate sign of conviction and a great way to keep you level-headed when the rest of the market is chopping themselves to zero, which I have done. And who's left to buy? The same holders over and over again, instead of one-time buyers playing greater fool theory to later buyers. During dry spells, retention is more important than acquisition, and belief is the stickiest form of memetics. And he said, rate my setup. I like the setup. That's good. Yeah, rate my setup here. This is my Lego setup. This is my Lego streaming. You see the screen? Yeah, this is my streaming setup. I hope you like it. My standing desk. This is where GoTanks streams. What's going on, guys? Welcome to Dano Crypto. Okay. We've had too much coffee and not enough food. All right, Aussie, let's go. We got 37 people watching on X. But I love this. I love this. I want to bookmark this. I want to share it, repost it, all the things. We love that because we typed in why DCA crypto beats trading. You know, there are opportunities to get entries and to trade, of course. You know, like we've even seen it to where, you know, some of our best trades were swing trades that we just couldn't help but to see it in the chart. And we're like, wow, that's just, okay, we couldn't help ourselves. And so when you see stuff like that, I mean, of course, like, you know, you have just good a chance to be right and just make sure you have your risk management. Make sure you know, or like you're going to make sure you have stop losses set. What are you willing to lose? What, you know, you just need to have a plan, you know, even doesn't matter if you're swing trading, scalp trading, whatever it is. But of course, doing that, it's totally fine. But there is something to be said about this, you know, dollar cost averaging, just compounding. You know, it's boring. And that's the thing about it. Sometimes it's boring. And I get it that trading is exciting. It's euphoric. You get dopamine hits. And even before you even win the trade, or even if you make profits, it's actually putting the trade in that gives you the hit. I realize that over time. It's actually the act of putting the trade in or the feelings right before you do it, right before. And it's very fascinating. So yeah, so I get how you can get caught up in wanting to trade and continue to trade, especially if you've made a few good trades and you get that, you really then get the dopamine hit, because then when you successfully take the profit, you saw you turned $50 into, who knows, maybe you turned $50 into 500. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, where else can you do that? You know, really, like on a daily basis, it's crypto. I mean, there's really not very many. I'm sure there's something, you know, I'm probably missing something, not thinking as broad, but in terms of what I'm talking about, crypto is really the only place you can do that. So it can get addicting. And so what you have to do is to practice trying being so like boring. Sometimes it's boring to just be like, I have 10 coins and I'm going to DCA $25 in each of them every week. I know, boring, right? But if you really think about it, that is going to outperform everything. Rotating, trying to be in the trench, or trying to do the pump funds or the launch tokens. And, you know, the market, a big portion of the market feeds on people to have that type of mindset. But then there is also the OG tried and true strategy. And what I agree with Mung here is just, this is what actually builds momentum behind projects, is having people with this mentality, instead of being like let me cheat out with the 2x, let me whatever. It's just a constant accumulation. Maybe they're scooping a little bit off. They're not like being, you know, crazy where they're just like, I'm going to sell the entire bag on a 2x. It's just a consistent build. And sometimes that is boring. Maybe it takes a year. And that's the thing, is that if you're not even willing to hold these coins for a year, if you're not willing to be in crypto for longer than a few years, then you have, I don't want to say you're not going to make it, because I want you guys to make it. I want to make it. I want you to make it. That's why I'm live streaming. You know, I want you to, with whatever you've decided to buy, I want you to be successful. And I want you to, with whatever you found as your edge, you manage to compound and you manage to keep it. That's the most important thing, because I know from my lessons that I've learned is that is sometimes the hardest thing, is to be boring, consistent, and just to not break your rules. It can be tough. When I go back and think about the things that I've done, oh my gosh, I sometimes can't, because I could get real sour and get real negative. But you can't, because then all you're doing is bringing up the past. You're bringing up old stuff. It doesn't exist. The past doesn't exist. It's gone. So what do? You move forward. What do you do? Okay, well then you say, okay, well then I know that when I try and overtrade and I break my rules, I lose money and I end up with less crypto than what I started with. Okay, that's a lesson. So what then do? You trade less. You weigh out your options and things, and actually weigh out why you're even going to take a trade instead of just jumping in or being euphoric or going off of like, reaction trading. And you notice and you make the adjustment to say, you know what? I actually kind of did better when I just took $50, $100 in the week, maybe in the 2 weeks, or just whenever you get paid, whenever you get a paycheck. And you just take, and you just say, and you just, and make it a conversation too. Cause sometimes like I've had that issue where I just like willy-nilly, I'm just like, oh, blah, blah, but like, hey, it's not just me. So if you have a partner, whoever it is, wife, husband, girlfriend, boyfriend, you need to have a conversation with them. And if you haven't already done this, you need to be doing this. You need to be talking about your budget. You need to know who's making what, how much is coming in income. Write it down. You need to write down every single thing that you spend money on, expenses, the things you're even speculating that you might spend. And you need to have a gross amount of what you're going to spend in the month. And have that conversation. And then when you know that, and then you're going to go, oh, okay. Oh, we should have $1,000 left over in the month. Okay. Then that's when you assess what's your debt. Are there debts that are just hanging around, annoying stuff that's just like, it's just that stupid annoying debt that just keeps you paying interest on it. It's like a leech, it's like a freaking leech. Annoying crap. Tackle that. Attack it. Kill it. Attack it. Stop procrastinating and pay the shit. That is what you need to do. Stop procrastinating, pay it, and then figure out how long it will take to then pay that annoying debt, that leech. And then you're going to be able to figure out, now I know how much I can actually start the journey into investing. I don't care what the heck it is. It could be crypto, S&P 500, open up the Robinhood app, get the most popular index funds. I don't care. You just start putting 25, 50, and just start dollar cost averaging. Then you're really going to know how much you can do and what you can do. And have the conversation. French Toaster said, my friend is going in $5,000 into debt for a Disney vacation. Oh yeah, like, oh, Mickey needs his money. Mickey needs his money. He's gonna pay up. I can't do, my Mickey voice is terrible right now. He's like, oh, you're gonna come to my castle and think you're not gonna pay? Think you're not gonna pay up? You better listen up. No, yeah, it's crazy. No, you don't know. Like, you really don't want to be going into debt on vacations. Like, no. You don't want to do that. The way to go is because the whole point of the vacation is to alleviate stress. Like, you're going to go and experience something that is not what you're normally doing on a day-to-day basis, And so, which is working and maybe stressing out a little bit. And you're like, all right, I'm going to relax. I'm going on vacation. And then you're taking out all this debt to go on the vacation. And then when you come back, you probably have to work even harder. And then you're paying even more interest. And so all the vacation is sometimes is just avoidance of what you really should be doing, which is not going on vacation, spending thousands of dollars when you are in debt. And so that's what I think. There is a big, I think there is a culture shift that needs to happen, which I think it is. I think there are some people, I don't want to say that's not like how everyone acts. Not everyone is like that. We all do some irresponsible things in terms of money. Sometimes we just crack and we're just like, I'm going to, throw all the rules out the window. I get it. We're not all saints, But there are some people that are starting to tune in, and they're like, hey, I'm not going to go out to eat. It's too freaking expensive. I'm going to make my food at home. I'm going to shop at Aldi. I'm going to start going to the damn food banks and getting like extra potatoes and stuff because, groceries are now $1,000 a month for a family of 3. There's people that are like that right now. Ozzy also says squeezing a pair of boobs reduces stress by 99.9%. I agree. Yes, 100%. It actually reduces stress by 100%. 100%. But what's cool is if you actually type in why DCA crypto beats trading, my post actually comes up. I'm surprised this hasn't like smashed through the algorithm. But if you guys want to help, I said I've learned this the hard way, my friends. I said dollar cost averaging crypto beats trading. I'm gonna say 100% of the time. 100% of the time. And if you just think how many, and not to say that you shouldn't go on vacation, because look, I don't regret any of the vacations I've went on. I've had a blast. There's so many memories, funny memories. Even when something stupid happens or you quote like you're mad at whatever happened on the vacation, you end up laughing about it later. You're just like, oh my gosh, I know you guys have those same kind of stories, like where you're just like, oh my gosh, do you remember when that happened? And we were so like, and if you could laugh about it, that's good. It builds great memories. So definitely, go on the vacation for sure. But if you've been on a few already, and you're just kind of milking it, and you gotta get on the, Dave Digital said, I'm squeezing my boobs right now and I'm still stressed. I don't know what the hell's going on. That's funny. He's like, it's not working. It's not working, man. That is hilarious. All right, so here's a great post. This was a post in the DCA section. This is who is this? This is Nicholas Morat. He's a crypto and tech investor. Yeah, we'll follow his account. So check this out. So he said the power of repetition is underrated, which we were talking about. It's just that, just repetition. Just diligence. But you gotta be honest though, Headband. But this is the thing. It's like, it really is true. To be true. Because you gotta remember, like a lot of the market's fake. Like a lot of the market of what you see is not real. It's just like when you watch like mainstream media, the news, like it, at a point, there's this really interesting intersection between perception of reality, what's actually happening, how they're trying to make you think that something is how it is. So crypto Twitter is actually a master at that. There's sections of crypto Twitter, it's just they're masters at making you believe that they have it all figured out, that they're just killing it, that they're just the image, the perception, all that stuff. It's brilliant. It works because what it does is it tricks people into thinking that these people that are making the trench runners or the millions or the bands, the bands. Here's the deal. I think my best guess is that those people will end up with probably less crypto as just the same of having that type of mentality. They're not thinking long term. They're most likely going to blow it on stupid crap like a freaking Lambo and watches and really dumb stuff. And then over time, these people normally get blasted out, and that is this to be true. That's the thing. Like I'm telling you this, you'll still kind of think that that's like the case, or like that's real, But we know deep down when we watch it, it's not real. It's not real. It's just like someone who claims to be a guru and they're good at whatever they're doing, but really they're just selling the course, and the way that they're getting the wealth and the perception and all that they're crushing it. It's because they're getting a bunch of people to believe that they are a guru of whatever said thing, and they buy the course. How do you think Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate got their wealth? It was from exploiting that simple fact. Exploiting the insecurities of young men who feel like they don't have any power, and they're like, oh, well, these guys seem to have it all figured out. But no, actually, maybe, oh, sorry, no, Andrew Tate invested in Pancake Swap early. So, sorry, no, that's where he got his wealth. So what you have to understand is that most of that shit is not real. The real wealth is built over time, consistency, boring bullshit. That's what it is. But hey, that's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to, I don't care if you agree with it or not. But when I see that stuff, when I see that image, when I see that mentality, that is so unhealthy, and it's so bullcrap. And it turns off, and honestly, it turns people off from crypto. Because most of that crap is fake. It's not real. Most of it is insider trading. And what's the edge? But Dave Digital, you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm not mad. I'm just pointing out the obvious facts. It is the truth. I'm not crazy for saying it. But that is funny, dude. You're like, you mad? No, I just don't want you guys to think that everything you're seeing is like that's what it is. I'm gonna be real old school and boring and accumulate this stuff that I've talked about, and just kind of, and do less trading and less trenching. And I really do feel like that will help me in the end. Because really, at the end of the day, we're all speculating. We're all speculating in this thing. They all could go to freaking zero too. At the end of the day, it all could go to freaking zero. Stock market, S&P, doom scroll on doom scroll upon doom scroll being opened could potentially be a possibility. But I'd much rather bet on descending wedges breaking out. That's what I'd rather bet on. Descending wedges breaking out, baby. Descending wedges breaking out. Bull flags. But yeah, just do your own research, come to your own conclusions. Don't believe the people that claim that they know everything. Like, I'll tell you firsthand, I don't know nothing. This is all just my speculations, opinions, my thesis over the past 3.5, however many years I've been watching crypto and looking at crypto. 4 years now. So, Headband saying the Solana chart looks scary. Yeah, well, first, we're not going to look at the Solana chart. We're going to look at the Sol BTC ratio chart. So if you're looking at the Sol BTC ratio chart, I would beg to differ. It actually looks really good. I would be like betting on Sol right now to start to actually start breaking out. Yeah. I mean, I would. Sol right now on the weekly looks really, really good, and a good reason why is the Sol BTC chart. It looks really good. I mean, that looks great. Double bottom, Wyckoff accumulation, right to the top. Well, it's really interesting because, like, if you think about it, like, we had this, well, just COVID was so weird. It was like such a disruptor in so many different ways. And then leading out of COVID, like, the interest rates just kept getting higher and higher and higher, but they were also printing more money at the same, like, printing money at the same time. So it was just like this really weird correlation of why the cycle was ended up doing what it did. And so you're asking to the upside, why wouldn't we have a super cycle if they keep money printing? I think the Fed is just their job is to always continue to print money. I mean, that's what they're good at. You know, there's 12 central banks. They're printing that fiat cash. They're also minting it digitally. I mean, they're just off the chain, you know. Pun intended, baby. They're off the freaking chain. But guess what? All that fiat printed cash has to go somewhere. It's got to go somewhere. When you hear about all these capital funds raised and all these, you know, these billions of funds raised with 21 shares, like Jack Mallers saying, like, yeah, we're raising capital. They just are understanding, like, you got to think, they know that they have to do something with this worthless paper that the Fed just keeps printing. They got to do something. They got to do something with it. So they're just going to continue to raise it into the billions and billions and put it into Bitcoin. Hence why that treasury right now, with when we talk about the Bitcoin treasuries, Strategy being the biggest one, and then right up under it is 21, Jack Mallers' company, where they're raising money to buy Bitcoin. And their average cost basis right now is at $87,000 per Bitcoin. So they're getting a pretty decent dollar cost average right there. Cost basis for Strategy is $73,000 per Bitcoin. But look at this, though. This is why wouldn't you be bullish on just crypto in general, or especially Bitcoin, for appreciating into $1 million per coin when the Bitcoin Standard Treasury Company, which is, I think, the American-based U.S. company, that's I think that's the Trump-backed mining company, is the Bitcoin Standard Treasury Company. Their cost basis is 118. Cost basis for bullish, the new BlackRock company that just had an IPO on Robinhood, 123. I mean, they're buying the quote top. They're buying the top that everyone's telling you is the top, you know. Nakamoto Holdings, 118,000. I mean, they don't care. What's crazy is Tesla's cost base is 33,000. That's crazy. They bought it. And remember, we covered that yesterday. We played the video of when we made our first cryptocurrency video announcing that Tesla was buying Bitcoin, and it was when it was $33,000. It's possible. I mean, we talked about how the pandemic basically spurred, you know, the curiosity into downloading the Robinhood app, downloading any type of financial app, and start watching financial content, whether it be how to, you know, monetize things online. You got to think, everyone was home and people were trying to rethink like what they were going to do with their life. So they turned to online, you know, drop shipping, all those different types of things. And so that's kind of what spurred this economy and this type of creator economy that we're in right now. Definitely kickstarted, got a flame burning. You know, if you weren't thinking about streaming and doing things like that before, you were definitely thinking about it, because that was just, everyone was forced to, and it also forced companies like Zoom to up the game, and anyone who had to like update their infrastructure had to go. And so think about it this way: when you start to think about crypto and how it's pushing and forcing companies and banks like Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase to get rid of their old outdated systems and they're going to be updated to blockchain and on-chain and digital signage and all that stuff. And if they don't, they'll die. Ozzy's asking me, have I seen the Richard Hart movie? Yes, I need to watch it again. I only watched it one time, but I'd love to watch it again, and maybe we could do like a watch party. That would be cool. Yeah, that would be fun to do. We should definitely do a watch party. And speaking of that, speaking of Richard Hart, we didn't cover any of the Pulse Chain tokens, so let's see what's happening with Pulse Chain over the past hour, or past 24 hours. Pulse Chain is up 7.8%. We got PLSX up 7%, Incentive up 8.7%. We have Hex up 16%. Not looking too bad. Yeah, the transactions from 2023 have consistently been going up, so it's getting a lot of traction, a lot of volume. If you look at the Pulse Chain volume in terms of the 24-hour DEX volume, it's not too bad, 14 million. And we like to compare it to other chains that claim that they're the best chain in the world. Cardano, that's one of them, that claim that they're just, you know, the bread and butter. 24-hour volume, 3.1 million. Pulse Chain, 14 million. So it 100% outpaces Cardano like by a long shot. But then when you look at things like Polygon, that's got like 85 million. So it's that, you know. So I'd love to see Pulse Chain start to push into like the 100 million 24-hour trading volume, you know. Start pushing some heat. Okay, so have you guys hit that like button? Yes, you did. You did. Cool, cool, cool. We appreciate everyone coming in. We got Ranchin. We had Steve Randall Jr., Ozzy, the Nerd Robot. I'm never going to call you the Nerd Robert. It's Nerd Robot. We got Eric Espacino in the house, French Toaster, To the Upside, Dave Digital. Yo, we got Kenneth Lodge in the house. Let's go. You see, Kenneth has a amazing cheeky Pepe right there. You can see he's got the cheeky Pepe. He is an actual full member of the channel. So shout out to Kenneth. Oh yeah, let's see the XRP. Yeah, let's check all the volumes for all these chains. Because that's the big question. It's like all these chains, you know, let's just kind of narrow down. This is how you can get your low cap stuff. If you want to see what's maybe in that range. That's why I like Pulse Chain right now. And I've always liked Pulse Chain because it's just like that. It's like the perfect underdog chain. It doesn't come without its baggage. You know, there's baggage, just like every chain has baggage. But I don't know. This one, I want to ride with this one to see what the upside potential could be. Because I mean, if you know, I mean, Hex went up 10,000. I mean, it went up like 10,000x or something like that. It was insane. I'd like to receive one of those boogie boards. It's crap that I haven't. That I would love to be on that list to receive a bunch of them, and I would give them out. I would give them out, donate them. I'd donate some to some of the schools here. Start teaching kids about blockchain, about Pulse Chain. Teach them about PDI. You see, kids, PDI. It was minted on Pulse Chain, and we don't know who was the creator of PDI. And the whole point of this is that it get to $1. And there's this guy named Sami. He's gonna peg his nipples if it pegs to $1. And everyone on the timeline has to peg their nipples when it hits to $1. Kids, do you understand? Okay, so All right, so Solana 24-hour trading volume, this is wild. This is wild. $7.6 billion of trading volume is happening on Solana right now. That is wild. And then 24-hour volume for Ethereum is $2.2 billion. Base has 1 billion. So man, now they're pumping in the billions with Base. Base, a lot of trading volume and activity and liquidity runs through Aerodrome Finance. So if you're bullish Base, you'd be wanting to, you'd want to be checking on Aerodrome. You'd be, maybe if you're into SocialFi, you maybe want to check on Zora. That's kind of one of the newish SocialFi tokens, 4 months old. And it's basically commoditizing and tokenizing posts and creator content posts. And then Brett is my favorite meme coin on Base, and in the group of like the stuff that I would equate to holding like Pepe or Wojak, ticker Bitcoin. A lot of this like is kind of similar narrative. Still hasn't been listed on Coinbase, while SPX 6900 and all these other Toshi and all these other different Keyboard Cat, for God's sakes, was listed on Coinbase, and they haven't listed Brett yet. So, but we digress. All right, Binance Smart Chain. Let's see the 24-hour trading volume, and there's 6.7 billion. Okay, and then Pulse Chain, 14 million. So yeah, we got to get the 24-hour trading volume. I think once we're at once we're at like over a couple hundred million, and we're pushing into 1 billion, like we need to get up to where Base is. I think Pulse Chain would be overdue to get to a Base 24-hour trading volume. TON, but check this out. See, TON is going to be another one of those early ecosystems that you could potentially get exposure into. And think that the narrative on this one is it's Telegram. So there's millions of Telegram users. So you would think that even if they just capture portions of that of the users to be able to invest and use the wallet, use TON, maybe use some of the stable coins on there, and also be interested in some of these tokens that are native on the chain. There's 3.3 million trading volume right now. So that's super low. So if you're going to kind of go comparative, like, all right, Pulse Chain, you're super early. TON, you're massively early. I would even say you're still early on Base, being at 1 billion, but it's getting up there. We can now go down the line with like Sui. So Sui starting to really get up to the trading volume, getting close to 1 billion, 374 million in 24 hours. Arbitrum, though, which is crazy. This is crazy. So Arbitrum has actually surpassed Sui in 24-hour trading volume. I've always kind of thought about Arbitrum as this kind of sleeper chain, and it's being used by a lot of reputable people like Robinhood. They're being used by the Crow ecosystem stuff like the Loaded Lions. What else? Who else is using Arbitrum? A lot of good stuff. Okay, now we're gonna go to the XRPL. So Aussie was a XRP Ledger. See, the XRP Ledger too is you're still really early. The 24-hour trading volume, 3.8 million. 3.8 million. So you could kind of go down the list and think, oh, and then that's cool. So like that's what's crazy is like there's a lot of bullishness around the XRP army and just people, still champion for XRP to break whatever they think it's going to break, their ridiculous price targets. But we have Sonic at 27 million trading volume inside this ecosystem compared to XRP. Or look, compared to Arbitrum, look at this trading volume. Insane. And then I would Kronos too. Kronos is interesting. It's at 13 million. So it's very, very similar to Pulse Chain. So Pulse Chain and Kronos have very similar 24-hour trading volume. Not too bad. Not too bad. Okay, so let's go. Let's keep going. Let's keep going down the line. Want to make sure we find the right post that we wanted to show you. Okay. So there was a little beef conversation between where is it at? Oh, I got a couple things to show. Where the heck is it? All right, well, whatever. Benjamin Cohen was basically defending and saying like, "Hey, Litecoin, anyone who's been bullish Litecoin, you're wrong and you're terrible and you should have just bought Bitcoin the entire time." And that's always been the conversation. But that doesn't take away the fact that there have been periods in Litecoin's existence that has outperformed Bitcoin. But that just means that you would have had to have bought Litecoin at certain points to then have outperformed Bitcoin. For instance, in the 2013 bull run, Litecoin went from $2 to $40, a 2,000% gain, while Bitcoin went from 100 to 1,000, which was a 900% gain. So, and then when you go into the 2017 bull run, Litecoin went from $4 to $370. That is a 9,125% gain, outpacing Bitcoin's rise from 1,000 to 20,000, which was a 1,900% gain. So Litecoin benefited from broader altcoin market enthusiasm and its reputation for fast transactions. And then this was also in 2021, Litecoin hit its all-time high of getting past $400 with a year-to-date gain of 300% compared to Bitcoin's 100% gain in 2021. So Benjamin Cohen is only going off the fact of the past 2 years where Bitcoin has yielded. So for instance, like over the long term, Bitcoin is consistently up from Litecoin absolute terms due to the market dominance. So say, for example, if you had invested 1,000 in Bitcoin 2 years ago in 2023, you would have yielded $4,287, a 328% gain compared to Litecoin's 1,760% gain, which is at 76% gain. Okay. So, but what you could do is go into Litecoin in the 2 years. Go back 2 years. Let's go back 2 years. To 2023. And if we pull it to the trend where we think it's going to go, which is a base case of $500, I think base case $500 Litecoin. Maybe even $600-700 Litecoin for that altcoin target for our altcoin, season here. We'll start from the beginning of 2023, and we were around $88. And we go up into that area where I think we could go, which I would say conservative would be right into that circle where I had it marked as $553. That would mean Litecoin from that point from 2023 would be up 523%. And then if you go to Bitcoin and you go to that, and let's say we were pulling that from going to speculate that would be happening around the end of the year to the first quarter of 2026. Yeah, I know, this is funny, right? So let's see the gains from the bottom of where the price was in January 2023 here for Bitcoin. And we go to where we're at right now. So yeah, it's went up 628% from that point. So, and if we think that it's going to go to quote 200,000 this year, then from that point, Bitcoin, if you were just be dollar cost averaging from the point, that's 1,113%. So for the long term from that point, from this point, yes, buying Bitcoin would have been the better option overall. But when you're looking at Litecoin, I would almost just consider it as the altcoin oscillator. Altcoin oscillator. Because when we were at points here, 2017, that was altcoin peaks. Right there, that was part of signaling that alts were starting to get hot, and then we had the rotation from Litecoin being the first speculator, and then going into the other alts in November from the Bitcoin, and also from the Bitcoin testing the double top all-time high, boom, and then going back in. And so what could we speculate from the reaction that we've had in altcoin seasons before is that we could be pushing a Litecoin going up to, I would think, base case, worst case scenario, $600. But yeah, 448%. And then you're thinking, okay, but if I want to buy Litecoin right now compared to Bitcoin, and I want to look at Bitcoin now, and we want to go to 200K. From where we're at right now, that's an 83% move to the upside. If Litecoin goes to where we think it's going to go in our season here, that's a 338% move to the upside. So technically right now, you'd be smart. Not financial advice. Absolutely not. I am just giving my opinions. I think Litecoin from now to the end of the year and into the quarter one of 2026, Litecoin by percentage gain from now till then will outperform Bitcoin. Now, over time, that might be a different story. That means you need to be thinking about DCAing out and thinking about whatever your strategy is. Because then what has happened is that people, when Litecoin got to a certain point, what did it do? It bled into Bitcoin. It bled into Bitcoin. Let's go to the Litecoin LTC BTC ratio. It's just like been bleeding into Bitcoin. It's terrible. But we did have points, and like I said in 2017, where it was like, okay, it's alts. People were like, okay, we'll sell some of that Bitcoin to get some dubious speculation into the altcoins. Last time that happened, where we got even just a little pump from a bottom, was in 2022. So only until you start to really see this take some kind of reversal, that's what can that and this really is telling though too, the ratio. We'll have to definitely save this one. And then Doge, I wonder if we could do a Doge BTC. Yeah, Dogecoin BTC ratio. This one looks nice. Like this one actually looks really, really nice. because Dogecoin has actually historically has outperformed Bitcoin in certain sections of the market as well. Well, yeah. Look at the ratio. It's found a bottom. It's got really nice support. It had really nice support here, which gave it a really nice pump here in 2021. That was the rotation. Bitcoin whales were even wanting to get an action on the meme coins. And this also was happening with Pepe. Bitcoin whales were buying Pepe, SHIB, any of the high market cap, really like blue chip meme coins. They were buying it. And so this is still the play with Doge. I think they're going to just load up and they're going to speculate into us going into an altcoin season. And also, if you look at this as an over like a trend, you draw the trend line, and not to be too like crazy on it, you draw the trend line and you see we've kind of been like do bounce, hit that, do, and then did we find a bottom, and could we create some type of channel? Some type of channel, ascending wedge. Could it have some type of reaction like that, And then what we could do even is go as far as being even, whoa. What the heck happened? Doge BTC, I don't know what happened. I just exited right out of the chart. I'm going to save this one too to the ratio. Okay. So if we were to do a bar pattern here, if we were to do a bar pattern from here to there, and I would love to see something like that. That's kind of what I'm seeing, as we'll kind of mimic that. We'll get a nice test up to this. See, look, that was all-time highs. Resistance at all-time highs could be obvious. I think there'd be some interesting sell pressure here through this through line of resistance. And then you can see here that we also have this bottoming out right here. So you see we have this channel that could be created. You see one right here. And then where we get the tick up into the real altcoin season. And look, this is also beautiful too. Look at this. You see that and that, and you see the setup. That's beautiful. That looks beautiful. It's just time. It's just high time for everyone to just be a little bit more bullish. Just be a little bit more bullish. This is clean right here. I mean, this is like clean. This should just make you so excited right here. This Doge BTC ratio right here. I'm going to take a picture of it. It's so beautiful. Holy crap. I mean, it is just, let me save this. I need to save this. And we are going to post this because this is just great. Ozzy, what's your Twitter? I forget what your handle is. What's your handle? Mr. Aussie. It's not Aussie. Like Doge. Aussie Doge. Well, I'm gonna tag Dogecoin in this, and then also Doge designer. And then you just need to repost it. That's all you need to do. And then we'll cash tag Doge. Okay. Oh, here's the post. Okay, so yeah, Benjamin Combs was like, I find it strange, but not surprising that you villainize the guys who were right by making these emotional posts. LTC is down 99% against BTC over the last 12 years. Perhaps for a moment, consider that I'm just trying to help you. If you listened all those years ago and bought BTC instead of Litecoin, your portfolio would be doing much better today. And then he said, one day in the future, maybe you will recognize that I was just trying to help you succeed in these difficult markets, and making posts to villainize me were unnecessary. He said, good luck. He said, hey, Ben, I'm not saying it was the right choice in the past. I'm not saying I was not wrong in the past. I'm saying it might be the biggest opportunity right now. He said, look at the corrective triangle and tell me, please, one last time, Litecoin is not going to go to $1,000. And I said, I think 500, I should have said 600. It's like, I think 600 is fair for the next few years. Said, I look at Litecoin a lot as a comparative blue chip bet for altcoin season. It's not going to be the best performer of alts, but it's a nice signal that once it peaks to the upper bull market resistance band, that's when all alts are probably going to be going crazy at that point. So it's a nice DCA out signal. And I said, I agree that Litecoin as well as a good portion of alts are a great accumulation levels, or at great accumulation levels. And Sami said this was yesterday. He said Pulse Chain core coins are pumping due to receiving coverage from Ivan on Tech. And I said, no, man, it's from, what are you talking about? That's from me. There's only a few streamers that actually cover the Pulse Chain ecosystem. Me, Ivan, Sami doesn't stream, but he obviously makes content on it. But, and then we got some other who's the other guy? Yeah, we got the Richard Hart Max. He's always making content as well. Who else is out here making Pulse Chain content? Just type in Pulsigans. Just type in Pulse Chain. See what pops up. That's hilarious. I bet Sami's just getting a kick out of this. He's like, it's all connecting. It's all making sense. He's like, he's jumping up and down in his studio. All right, this was 1 hour ago. Turned salty. People are not thinking enough. This U.S. economy is stuck in a feedback loop of decline, shrinking jobs, rising costs, and endless printing. Exactly what we were talking about today. Pulse Chain offers an ecosystem where scarcity is engineered, inflation is restrained, and value accrues to participants rather than the leeches. It doesn't save you, but it gives you rails to save yourself. The fiat system is the Titanic. The jobs revision is the iceberg. So we're saying the jobs numbers are bull crap. There's probably way more people out of jobs than what they're saying. Oh, well, you know, we were expecting blah, blah, blah. Pulse chain is the lifeboat, but not a wooden one. It's steel, self-propelled, and scalable. Pulse chain isn't competing with fiat. It's replacing it quietly, block by block, while the old economy burns its last credibility match. All right, well, that's cool. I like that. I like that post. Turn salty. We'll follow you. We like that post. We'll repost. Aye, aye. Ansem is streaming. What is he streaming about?
That's what you can expect. Now we're gonna have some fun here, but before we jump into it, we got a little hype video to play, so bear with us.
This is currently this is the stream that Ansem is in for the Solana phone. Developers, users, hardware manufacturers. The native asset of the Solana mobile ecosystem. Oh, whoa, okay, SKR. I didn't know they were gonna have a token.
Zon, everybody keeps asking to drop a ticker. We just gave him one.
Nice.
Always asking you to drop a ticket.
I keep asking, you're just like, no. I'm like, dude, what I gotta do? But yeah, no, man.
SKR, okay, so they're gonna have a token.
SKR. This is the first token to have a native phone. First phone to have a native token to it. Obviously, you want to align developers, users, third-party manufacturers, and then what you guys also call guardians and validators. Now, that's a lot. So, and it's a flywheel. We like flywheels in crypto. Yeah. You could break that down. What does that mean? What does the flywheel mean?
Yeah, I like the marketing team, Ross and Co. Did a sick job putting together a banger hype video, and then I have to try and explain it, and I can't do in 30 seconds.
Interesting. Okay, so that there's going to be a token that is implemented into the Solana ecosystem with the Seeker phone. So that could mean a lot of different things. I mean, with developers, okay, if you incentives with this SKR for the token, if you are a developer, there could be massive incentives. You know. Dude, I don't get invited to go. I don't get invited to go on these streams, man. I used to get invited to go on streams. But yeah, that's cool. We caught the announcement right when we clicked on it. SKR. So SKR. Let's actually just make a breaking news. So breaking news. Solana phone Seeker to launch first of its kind native token. Breaking news, Solana phone Seeker to launch first of its kind native token. SKR. Or I should say phone token. or native Solana. Yeah. First of its kind native Solana phone token SKR. And then we're going to use AI to quickly create a image. Solana seeker to launch token SKR. Let's see how well Croc can make this. This is what it made. Sometimes AI is just dumb. It doesn't get, it's like it kind of gets it, but it really, like for instance, like this or this. Like absolutely no context that I give it to do that. I said Solana Seeker to launch token SKR. I said make an ad image for my post. This is funny. I'll use this one. Why not? It's terrible, but I'm still gonna use it. All right, so let's use that one, and then we will add this. We got the image. Okay. And there's the post. Breaking news, Solana Phone Seeker to launch first of its kind native Solana phone token, SKR. Let's see. Yeah, stuff's kind of just chopping around. It's kind of just chopping around. We might actually get a consolidation down a little further before we go higher. It's potential that we could go to 105. I mean, I wouldn't be scared. I'm not going to be scared about it. We do have an alert set. But coming from the bottom here, that was a nice sign. That was a nice sign. But yeah, crypto's just kind of, just chopping around, giving you opportunities. All right, is there anything else? Oh yeah, we wanted to, we didn't even finish reading this post. God, we're such ADD brain. All right, I like this. Drops of water cut through stone. Wind shapes mountains. 10,000 plus hours of training makes a champion. PHEMEX works the same way. Buy a scarce asset every week and you move closer to financial freedom. That's the essence of dollar cost averaging. Small, smart actions repeated. That's where results come from. Not from the gambling trench, not from seeing the whatever Solana trench bro make 20 bands and blah, 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 or whatever. Works for Bitcoin, works for gold. It does not work for fiat. Your 20K in 2018 buys you far less today, and we know this to be true. through the debasement and the inflation, monetary inflation. Do you already have your weekly buy set up, or are you still waiting for the perfect moment? And that's the whole point, is that a lot of people are always either waiting for the whatever. And it's the same thing when you want to start something. People are always making excuses. Oh, I'm waiting until I, get this camera. I don't care if you got a Razer flip phone that has the camera on it. You better start recording some freaking content right now. Stop making excuses. You've been talking this whole time about wanting to start investing. You haven't even bought $5 of Bitcoin. Get out of my face. No, actually, come back. I'm going to tell you something. Just do it. Damn it. Just start the journey. Making all these freaking excuses. All right, Ozzy. Ozzy's got to run. And everyone who has tuned into the live stream today, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. Really, really appreciate every single one of you. You make the channel what it is by being part of the Dojo crew. All right. We will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for tuning in. As I said, have to run. Cheers. Sorry, I've been missing in action lately. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry to hear that, man. Well, you will definitely be in my prayers for 100%. Yeah, take some time with family, 100%. Yeah, and everyone else give Ozzy your thoughts and prayers. Give your thoughts and prayers, please. Yeah. All right. I will see you guys on the next one. Peace out.